Delighted to say Bill Mott's here, and we've just been hearing from Gary. I know obviously there he could have been riding for you this weekend. Just give a quick assessment before we come to your horse on what he's achieved since he's come back, because obviously you're prepared to book him. You think he's back to where he was?
Well, I guess I haven't been watching him as closely as a lot of people because he's been in California and I've been on the other coast, so I haven't watched him on a day-to-day basis. Obviously, I've seen the results and watched him ride a few races, and it's pretty amazing, you know, to watch him come back and, you know, get back into the shape that he was in before and be able to ride with the, you know, the type of, you know, ride the type of races that he needs to ride to get to where he's at now. So, but some people have that certain quality about him that have a lot of horse in him, and I think he's just a natural and one of those guys that can do it.
And you made reference to Cigar because he was in, I think he rode in that race as well. So, I mean, here again, you know, a few years on, who thought you'd still be training and he'd be riding in the race?
Right. Well, it was, I guess, what, 18 years ago? And, you know, that was probably as close as we came to getting beat during that particular run. And actually, it was one of those races where, you know, all with the races that Cigar had won and all his previous win streak, I never knew what he would do if he ever had to get down and battle with another horse because he was winning his races so easily up to this point. And, of course, then on the day here, Soul of the Matter ran up to him eyeball to eyeball. And then, you know, just watching the rerun last night, you know, we pulled back away by 3/4 of a length, I guess. And so at that point, Cigar showed a lot of determination, which we knew he had a lot of ability, but didn't know that he would gut it out like that.
Is that something you do often look back at Cigar? And when you do, what goes through your mind? Talk the emotions.
Well, you know, it's sometimes it does get very emotional because he was such a special horse and he did so much for me and so much for everybody that in our operation, you know, not only me, the assistant trainers and the people that worked around him, and he meant an awful lot to a lot of people and did a lot for my career and gave me a lot of memories.
And with Royal Delta, you're trying to go into groundbreaking territory. So talk us through the preparations so far and leading up to Saturday night since you've been here.
Well, you know, with her, it's obviously different because we're trying to win the World Cup with the mare, and you know, we were challenged enough to win the first one with Cigar, and now it'd be a great thing to try to win it with a mare, and she is good. She's very talented. She's very capable, and you know, we got beat here last year and didn't have the best trips with her, but right after the race, we hadn't gotten back to America yet, and Mr. Leone said, you know, I think she can run better than that, and I'd like to come back the next year. And, you know, then through the course of last year, she finished the year well enough that she got an invitation back, and she earned her way back into the race again, which horses have to do. You know, you have to be selected into the field.
And obviously lots made of the surface out here, but you've never made any, you know, you're happy with the way she acts on this surface?
She seemed to get over it very well last year, and she seems to be getting over it very well this year. And, you know, we let her blow out a little bit yesterday, and she looked really good. I was very happy with her.
And obviously lots also made of the fact that the Americans, though, since we've gone to this torpedo, it hasn't gone as well. How do you assess the strength of this year's challenge?
I think maybe not only, you know, the fact that Royal Delta's back, but I think the other two horses are probably the more legitimate horses that they've brought back. I think Animal Kingdom is a very good horse. Dullahan, I think they're more proven on a synthetic surface than what Royal Delta is. So they've got a lot going for them. They're good horses, and they've beat the top class horses in America on the synthetic.
But do you feel that American racing has got something to prove with on the international stage?
Of course, it's a different ball game, I guess. And you know, initially, you know, it was in our favor running on the dirt because we've got the majority of the dirt horses, and so it moved the other direction. I think it opened it up to a larger group of horses.
Okay, questions for Oh, right, yeah, there we go.
Bill, she hasn't always gone to the front. So back when she was a 3-year-old at Churchill, you know, she has grown and shown a lot more prominence in her running style. Do you expect to make the lead and try and set the pace?
Well, I don't think we're going to force any issue. I think I've always believed that, you let them find their own stride and let them cruise along where they're comfortable. I don't want to take her out of her game, and there's certainly the possibility of a couple other horses in there that could show early pace and early speed, and I don't think it needs to be her. And obviously she's proven that she's won on the front end, but she won a championship the year before, and she was never on the lead. So she can do it either way, and I think we've got to leave that part up to the jock when the gates open. I think he's got to assess that after the break.
Is this potentially her last race, or can we expect her back to the Breeders' Cup?
No, I mean, we're looking forward to running back. We're looking forward to running the rest of the season. So I don't, as long as she's healthy and doing well, which we'd like to come back and go back to California for the Breeders' Cup in the fall.
Would that be for the Classic this time?
Well, that's been our plan. We toyed with that idea this past year, but Mr. Leone said, well, maybe we can try it next year. I actually was the one that kind of voted to run back in the filly race this past year. I thought, I thought if we did, I thought she could win it, and I felt like she could win another championship. And I guess we, by doing that, I probably took ourselves out of the running for Horse of the Year, but I just didn't think that was necessary at that point. I
Maybe
just.
this year.
Pardon?
Maybe this year.
Maybe this year.
As you say, she didn't get a good trip here last year. Is she the kind of horse that needs everything to go right on the night?
Well, I think most horses in this type of race, you can't have too many things go wrong and win it. It's things have to go pretty smoothly. Horses, would be very unusual for them to have a real rough trip and get banged around and win this race. And obviously she's, a year older now, a little more experienced, a little tougher, and she could probably handle a little bit more of a rough trip now than she could have a year ago. But, you always like to see a nice smooth trip for them.
Not having seen her that often, she does appear to me to have matured since last year and got it above.
That's what everybody thinks. Obviously, I'm looking at her every day, and I can see it, but I probably not. The contrast isn't as much, in my favor, I guess, as far as that goes. But I think she's really developed and grown into herself.
Bill, you've referred to your two US horses, Animal Kingdom and Dullahan, and their synthetic abilities. Is looking at this race on Saturday, is this a tougher World Cup than last year in your book?
Well, we've got some of the same horses back in it. I think the fact that Animal Kingdom is in there, I think it makes it a very tough race. I think I have a lot of respect for him. I certainly hope we can beat him. But he's a good horse. He nearly won the Breeders' Cup Mile last year. He's won our Kentucky Derby. He acts on all surfaces. He's a very good horse in his own right. And I think the horse that won the last Mott Challenge is a very good horse. He looks like and I guess he's the morning line favorite.
You talked about the horse getting banged up before the race, but in terms of the race last year, what went wrong, and what did you learn about the horse from that race that you can maybe apply this year?
Well, I think, when she headed down the backside, I mean, it looked like she was full of run and wanted to, and she was actually, horse lapped up on the outside of her, might have even been the winner and the eventual winner, and just, she was, just got stuck in behind horses and, trying to push her way out, and it didn't work.
With the 8 draw, is she likely to race a little bit handier this year then?
She could, with a good break, I guess I'd hate to take away anything that's coming easy.
Yeah, no, of the Americans, you have the future of the draw.
One last question.
Bill, the Godolphin manager Simon Crisford's just been in, and he said that Animal Kingdom and Royal Delta, if they handle the ground, are far superior to anything the home contingent can bring up.
He said that to me. I don't know if that's
is that-
trying to
is that
psych
mind-
us out a little bit.
Is that mind games? Is that kidology? Or do you think it's
You know, well, I don't think it might affect me, but I don't think it's going to affect Royal Delta. So he's probably talking to the wrong set of ears. But you know, he has said that. Whether he believes it or not, I'm not quite sure. But you know, I think they've got a good contingent of horses in there, and they're, you know, it's a good solid group.